this is, I would say, like a part two segment with Miss Sharron Winbush, a nutritionist and strategist. I want to just say to the stars, because there's a whole lot more people we don't know about. Hopefully we will get to know about them. And so you graced us with your appearance on our show about a couple weeks ago to speak on the life and trial of R. Kelly, someone whom you are very close to and who you worked with for a number of years. Also, you are here today to speak on Miss Donda West, who is the mother and manager, late mother and manager to Kanye West. Now, we know recently he just dropped an album in her honor and in her name. It is by far the highest selling album right now to date, giving streaming services. I mean, what he did is unheard of. And there's been a lot of speculation surrounding her death per se. Now, there is a 911 call that I'm going to add to the video as a reference, just so people can just kind of get familiar. But there's been rumors going around that, of course, she either died in surgery or, after surgery. But of course, it was a 911 call released. But there's been so much speculation surrounding who she was and the type of person that she was. And so being that I just found out, because I had no clue, she even dedicated her book to you as well. Was very close to Miss Donda West. And I think it's now an appropriate time to really talk about who she was and really shine light on her legacy, which is her son, Kanye West. And so without further ado, I want to welcome back Miss Sharron Winbush. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. So how did you meet Miss Donda?
I met Donda West in early 2000. She moved to California to manage her son, and we lived not that far from each other. So we began talking, and she wanted to hire me to work with her and her son on nutrition, as well as being a strategist.
Okay.
She was his manager, and so she managed all of his business in terms of his music and touring and photo shoots and video shoots and everything. So she was his mother, his best friend, his closest confidant, as well as his momager. And so when we began working together, we spent every single day together, hours and hours a day up until the time of her passing. So I was very close to Donda. She was my best friend. She was a client. She was someone that I loved very dearly. And what disturbed me was, for 14 years, these rumors have been circulating, and the belief in people's minds about her is just inconsistent with who she is as a woman. And it's a diminishment to her name and her legacy. So one of the things that I constantly hear, and these are things that are said all the time. They're never going to say it to Kanye or the family, but there are people who will say it to me, and it's being said behind their back. But one of the most pervasive lies is that Donda went Hollywood. She moved to Los Angeles and adopted a Hollywood value system, or she got caught up in the Hollywood lifestyle. Her standards shifted when she moved to California. She ignored her health. She ignored doctors' warnings. She had pre-existing health issues that she ignored for vanity and being superficial. Nothing could have been further from the truth. Donda did not have medical issues. As her nutritionist, I know everything about her health. She did have medical clearance to have the procedure. She did have a thorough, complete medical exam before having the procedure, and she sought the counsel of 6 doctors before even going through with it, and she was never advised against it. She was not on any medications. She was in the best health of her life, I believe, and she was not only healthy, but she was vibrant and vivacious and just a good old-fashioned salt of the earth, grounded individual. Donda West was the complete opposite of superficial and vain. She was genuine. She was authentic. She was thorough and organized, and she had a great, wicked sense of humor. Everybody loved Donda. She was very hip and she was very cool, never gossiped about people, never talked about people behind their back. I have never met a finer woman in my life. Beautiful inside out. I want to walk you through what happened and what really drove this process, if that's okay.
Please, please.
Donda was turning 57, and she was getting older. And as a result, she wanted a relationship. She was always with Kanye. Kanye at that time was engaged to Alexis, and they were always together, and Donda was with them. So she felt like a third wheel. There was a time when in New York, they were with Jay-Z and Beyonce, either on a carriage ride or a boat ride. I don't remember which, but I remember Donda telling me how she felt like a third wheel because Jay-Z was with Beyonce and Kanye was with Alexis, and Donda was solo. Mm-hmm. And there were other things that they had done together where Donda just, she really longed for a really deep, meaningful relationship. So January of 2019, she met this gentleman, Spalding, and they got involved. And he liked her, but he didn't like her the way she liked him. I think he liked more of the perks of being with Kanye's mother and all that came with. So she would talk to me about the relationship, and I particularly didn't care for the guy because I didn't feel he deserved Donda, and I didn't feel he brought much to the table, or certainly not as much as she did. So she knew that I wasn't that fond of him. But she found out very quickly that he was seeing someone else half his age. He was around her age, but he began seeing her, but he was also seeing someone half his age. And she found out about that, and that began to make her very insecure. So the fact that she was 57, the fact that she felt, like a third wheel, going places with her son and his fiance, coupled with this gentleman cheating on her or being a playboy, I think she may have, I don't know who brought the conversation up, but I know prior to dating him, Donda never mentioned cosmetic surgery to me. After she had been dating him a couple of months, all of a sudden she started bringing that up. And of course, I dismissed it because I knew that that's not something that she needed to do. And she was in good health. And so I had always talked her out of it. But I think her insecurity with the relationship with him and his eye for younger women was really the impetus of her wanting to do that. And he, quite frankly, encouraged it. He is the one that referred Jan Adams to her because I think Jan Adams did the surgery on one of his younger girlfriends.
Let me interrupt you for a second. Why Mr. Spalding ain't getting no hair transplant? I'm just trying to figure this out because he is not the type to be labeled as a playboy. I've gotten some pictures of him, and I'm just trying to see it. And I did not mean to interrupt you like that, but I just kind of had to put that out there. I'm just trying to figure out why he didn't get no hair or no hairline installed. I'm just trying to figure that out.
Right, but in his age group, he was considered a silver fox. And he drove a Mercedes truck, and he had all the superficial trappings that young girls might be attracted to. I don't know. I didn't see it either, but Donda then began seeing cosmetic surgeons. The first one she went to see was in West Covina. Every surgeon that she went to see told her she could and should do all three procedures at the same time: the tummy tuck, um, the liposuction, and the breast reduction, just to give her more of an hourglass figure. And once she came back from West Covina, we had a long talk about that, and I talked her out of it. I told her that was ridiculous, no need to do that. And she always listened to me because I was always a voice of reason for her. Mm-hmm. And I knew what was driving it. So Kanye's birthday party was coming up in New York. He was doing that Louis Vuitton store party where he took over the whole store. And we were planning it and coming up with all the things for it. And I remember Spalding constantly putting what he wanted into the mix. And Donda didn't like that because she said, this is my son's party and why is he trying to interject? And I said, well, just tell him it's not his party and he won't do it. He has nothing to do with it. So she decided to write a letter and have me dictate the letter. So we did that, and I was very firm with it, because she had a hard time being firm with people that she cared about. I didn't, of course. So, I basically dictated this semi-harsh letter that she delivered to get him to back off of Kanye's birthday party. Okay. But then, they continued to see each other, but with every month, she became more and more insecure with this man. And the bottom line was she liked him more than he liked her, and he was cheating with women half his age. So that was what was driving her decision. So then she went to see a couple of doctors in Beverly Hills. They told her the same thing, doing the liposuction and the tummy tuck and the breast reduction all at the same time is how they did it. It's normal. They do it all the time. And every doctor told her post-op could either be at a facility that they had or she could do it at home. There was never an issue. She didn't have to have any special equipment or anything like that. So, after she got back from Beverly Hills, we talked about it again. I talked her out of that. And she made it very clear that Kanye and I were the only two people against her having surgery. And I said, because you don't need to do it and you need to listen to your son and me. Don't do it. So I talked her out of that. Then Kanye was going to Chicago. He had some concert at the House of Blues in Chicago. And while she was there, she saw another doctor. And this was an African-American doctor and told her the same thing. Those procedures were fine. She was in good health and she could recover at home or in their space. So it was always an option of what she could do. When she got back, again, we always talked about these things. And again, I talked her out of it. So she wasn't 100% into it because she was really fearful about having surgery. And I didn't co-sign on it at all. Kanye didn't. And so we were sort of her grounding force on that. But then what happened, she went on and got a full medical exam, her and Kanye at Cedars-Sinai. They did thorough workup, head to toe. I remember she told me it was $80,000 for the entire thorough examination for her and for Kanye. And she got a clean bill of health. Now, as her nutritionist, I know what Donda was eating. I know what she was putting into her body. We exercised every day. Donda was in the best health of her life. So there was no health issue as to why she couldn't have done the surgery.
$80,000. So her and Kanye spent $80,000 total just getting
80,000 her and 80,000 Kanye. So
for a physical.
It wasn't just a physical. They did everything, a battery of tests, blood work. Where they test the brain, the heart, the lymphatic system, the immune system. She wanted everything thoroughly looked over to make sure that she was in good health.
I didn't know they had tests like that. Jesus.
I didn't either. And so that's why when people say that, she ignored health, I'm like, no, Donda was very thorough and very adamant about making sure she was in tip-top shape. And she had no pre-existing health issues. So once she told me...
That's really good for a 58-year-old Black woman, might I add.
Yeah.
I mean...
But she ate healthy. She exercised. When I worked with her, I bought her... She bought a juicer for her and one for Kanye. And, I would give her juice fasts and juice cleanses, and she would do raw foods. And even when she traveled, she would eat healthy.
Let's put the wine down for a second, because at times like this, we need to take a shot of the olive leaf extract, because the olive leaf boosts our immune system and has been known to reverse high blood pressure, lupus, diabetes, and certain cancers. Check them out at myoliveleaf.biz to learn more and to order, or simply click the link below in the description box. Now back to the wine. AdamandEve.com. I'm talking toys, bondage, lingerie, and so much more. Plus, they have 24/7 customer service, so you can order at 3 a.m. if you ain't coming, if you get me, okay? And if something isn't working out, you can send it back within 90 days, no hassle. And if that's not enough, you can also take pleasure in knowing that 20% of their profits goes to help fight the spread of HIV around the world. So go on ahead and log on to AdamandEve.com. Use the code TASHAK for 50% off one item plus free shipping in the U.S. and Canada. Some exclusions apply now, but hurry up and visit AdamandEve.com so they can make you come.
Donda had, her son gets his great qualities from his mom. He has excellent discipline because his mother has excellent discipline. She was not weak. She was not easily tempted. She was very strong. So once she got the clean bill of health from Cedars-Sinai, she kind of backed off the surgery idea for a month or two, if I remember correctly. And then something happened with her male companion that they broke up. And that sent her into a depression. Kanye, I had keys to her house. So I would go over there at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I generally had a client right after her, but she and I would be talking, and, 90% of her conversation was always about her son, and she did not want to rush any conversation. So oftentimes I had to push my clients back, and we would just talk from like 7 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. But, so I had keys to her house. So she called me to come by. And she was supposed to be in Dubai. Kanye was there for something with business, and she and Spalding were supposed to go. So I let myself into the house, and it was quiet and dark, and which was unusual for her. And so I called out her name to see what room she was in. She was in her bedroom, and she was laying in bed at like 6 in the evening, which was absolutely not her. So I knew something was wrong. And then once we talked about it, she told me that she had broken up with this guy, and, she found out that he was seeing someone else, and basically she was brokenhearted. But that's when she told me she had scheduled the surgery, with this new doctor, Jan Adams. Now, I did not know this was a new one that she had introduced. And so she was giving me all of his background. He was the one that had done the surgery on Spalding's little tart. And then he also did some surgery on Glodine White, Barry White's widow. So both of them had talked to Donda and, assured her that this guy was a good surgeon and the best to do the job and that sort of thing. But I knew that she was not in a good space because I knew she was depressed. So I told her, let's go to church on Sunday. And she agreed. And I knew that I always had the ability to talk Donda out of stuff, so I wasn't worried about it. But I wanted her to feel better. I wanted her to get into a better place. So we went to church that Sunday. And when we got back, we got to her house and she asked me, would I come by after the surgery and sit with her? And I said, well, let me think about it. But I knew I wasn't going to do that because I knew I was going to talk her out of it. But I needed, time to think about what I would say. So I just said, let me think about it. And I went home and I sat with the information that she had given me. And I wrote her a long email outlining why I didn't feel she needed to do this. And I knew that she was hurting over this guy. And, and I knew that her getting older was bothering her in terms of finding a mate. And so I was just reassuring her as a friend, telling her how beautiful she was. And there are lots of men out here and that sort of thing. So she emailed me back and she said she understood everything. She knows that I love her and she's doing this for her. She's not doing it for any man and, some other things. And that was the end of the email. So I didn't, the surgery was going to be that Friday and I was against it. So I was not going to go over there, but I knew that I told her I would come by that Monday and check on her and sit with her and make sure everything was okay. But I didn't want to I don't participate in things that I'm not for. So what I found out later was Donda had called the doctor and once she got my email, she did call the doctor and tried to cancel her appointment. But he told her he wouldn't refund her money if she canceled. So she went on and went through with the surgery. So
how much did she put down? Do you know?
She had paid for it in full at that point.
Oh, wow.
Because he had to get the anesthesiologist and whatever it is that he had to do. So she had completely paid for it. So he wasn't going to refund the money and basically sort of forced her into it, which I didn't. I was angry about after everything happened. But the surgery was 7:00 that Friday. It was 5.5 hours. And I did call her to leave a message right around when I thought maybe she would be home. But it went to voicemail. And, I told her I hope everything went well and I would see her on Monday. And she had, the reason I wasn't going to go is because she already had 3 or 4 other people who were going to be there with her. Her nephew was and is a board certified nurse. So he was with her the entire time and she had 3 other people with her. So to my knowledge, everything was fine. And my plan was to see her on that Monday. My phone started ringing Saturday evening and, people were saying that Kanye's mother had passed. So I immediately hung up and I called Kanye's aunt, who I thought was supposed to be at the house with her because that's who Donda told me was going to be there. And she told me that it was true and that Donda had passed. And so I started screaming, and she was trying to tell me what happened, and I think I just went into shock. Donda lived like a block from me, and so I couldn't even walk over there or drive over there. Someone had to take me over there. And when I got there, her nephew was there, and what he said to me was Donda had made it through the surgery. The first 24 hours is the critical period, and that's where you have to make sure that the person is elevated the entire time because they're supposed to regurgitate after post-op. So she did get through the surgery, and the next day her nephew made her lunch. She ate, and she went to lay down, and it was more than 24 hours later. So everybody felt she was out of the woods, so to speak. And her nephew had been there, the entire time without sleep, watching over her. And so he was taking a break for a couple of hours to go to another family function. But there were 3 other people in the house. And he had left them with instructions, and Donda was elevated and upright with pillows stacked behind her, resting. And the 3 people that were there were to just, make sure that she was comfortable. They were in the kitchen making tea, and one of the individuals went to the bathroom, and then they went in to check on Donda. And when they went in, they removed the pillows and laid her horizontal, which was not supposed to happen because they thought she looked uncomfortable sitting up and that she would be more comfortable laying flat. So they laid her flat, and then they went back into the kitchen. And then sometime after that, they went back and checked on her, and she was in distress. So they called 911. There was some black secretion from her mouth, which I believe was bile, which is a digestive enzyme, which is black. And they had wiped her mouth and cleaned her up to do CPR. So by the time the ambulance got there, they could not resuscitate her. And, they rushed her to Marina Del Rey Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. So Kanye at the time was flying to London for a concert, and they called him, and he hopped on a plane and came back immediately. And then, all the hell broke loose after that in terms of the media and in terms of speculating what happened and all of those things. So I believe that it was the reclining her that didn't allow her to regurgitate. Would that cause the cardiac arrest that they're saying?
So during the 911 call,
Department paramedics, what's the address emergency, please?
She just had surgery. She just had breast.
Give them the address first, ma'am. Ma'am? Tell me what happened. Ma'am, what is the problem? Tell me exactly what happened.
I can hear you.
What happened? Why are you calling?
Because she's having a heart attack, and she's dying, she's not breathing, and she's not moving. I'm trying to do CPR.
Ma'am, how old is this person?
She's 58 years old.
58?
She's had surgery.
Okay, 58. Now, you're doing CPR?
We get ready to start.
Ma'am, is she not breathing at all?
We gave her medication. She complained she couldn't breathe.
Ma'am, okay, so she's not...
Clammy.
Ma'am, she's not breathing?
She can't breathe.
Okay, is she breathing?
No, she's not.
She's not breathing.
No, she threw up all this black stuff around her mouth, and we trying to do CPR on her.
Okay, so she's not breathing at all?
She's not responding.
Okay, but I want to know if she's breathing. Is she breathing at all?
She's cold and clammy.
Okay, ma'am, is she breathing?
No, I said the mirror.
Okay, did you need... Let me go ahead and give you instruction. Ma'am, do you need instruction on CPR?
Hey, we need a heavy board. Give me a heavy board.
Ma'am, we've already got people on the way to you, okay?
Huh? Dr. West.
Ma'am, are you on speakerphone? If you can put me on regular phone, that'd be better.
We're on regular phone.
Okay, ma'am, is she... Okay, so are you doing CPR at this time?
No, we get ready to start.
Okay, do you need instructions? I can tell you what to do.
Take this off, lift her head.
Okay, we want to lay her flat on the ground, no pillows, nothing underneath of her head.
I can't move her from the bed. She just has to...
Is she in a hospital bed? Ma'am, is she in a hospital bed?
Huh? Please wake up.
Is she in a hospital bed?
Huh? Dr. West. Come on. Come on. Listen, be careful.
Ma'am, is she in a hospital bed?
Come on. Sorry?
Is she in a hospital bed?
Huh?
Is she in a hospital bed?
No, she's in a regular bed.
A regular bed?
Yes.
There's no way to get her on the floor?
No, there's no way we can put her on the floor. Let's clear her airway. We try to clear her airway.
We've already got... Okay, what you want to do is turn her on her left side. Okay, did you hear that?
I'm clearing out her...
Okay, turn her on her left side.
No, I don't feel a pulse.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, you need to listen to what I'm telling you. The other person is making so you can't hear me. You need to turn her on her left side.
Turn it on her left side. Turn on her left side. Right, left, on this side. This side.
Okay, that way the fluid will run out of her mouth. Just get any fluid, anything that's in her mouth, just go ahead and get it out. Take a towel, use your finger, just get it out of her mouth.
That's what we're doing.
Okay. Is all of it out of her mouth now?
Yes.
Okay, what I want you to do is lay her flat on her back again.
She's on her back.
Okay, is she flat on the bed?
She's flat on the bed.
Okay, no pillows, nothing underneath of her head.
Huh?
No pillows, nothing underneath of her head.
Turn her that way. This way. Yeah, because she rolled like a bed. Dr. West.
Ma'am, no pillows underneath of her head.
Does she have a pose? Does she have a pose?
Ma'am, this is a regular house? This is a house?
Yeah, we're in a house.
Okay, does anybody there know CPR? I hear several...
We can ready to start CPR now.
Okay, what they want, does anybody know how?
Now, don't you dare have to get let me sit down. Breathe. Take breathe. 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 Oh, shit. Get an ambulance here now. I got two people on me.
Ma'am. Hello? Ma'am, is that person breathing? Who is doing the noise? I can't hear what you're saying. Your phone...
I can't hear you.
You know, your phone's cutting out.
Huh?
Your phone's cutting out. Okay, is the person breathing?
No, she's not.
Okay, is anybody doing anything for her?
We're doing CPR.
Okay, are you doing it?
You doing CPR?
Okay, does anybody know how? That's what I've already asked you. What you need...
Open her mouth. Ma'am. And start breathing her mouth.
Okay, hold on. Ma'am, let me tell you how to do this. You need to listen. You're not listening to what I'm telling you. You're not helping the person at all. Have the other people be quiet so I can tell you what to do. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, lay her flat on her back.
She's on the floor.
Okay, no pillows, nothing underneath of her head.
There's no pillows underneath her head.
Okay, put one hand under her neck, one hand on her forehead. You want to tilt her head back.
Huh? Okay, one hand underneath here.
One hand under her neck, one hand on her forehead, and tilt her head back.
One hand on her forehead, tilt her neck back. Okay. What? Okay.
Okay, do you see anything in her mouth? Is there any food or vomit, anything?
Any vomit? Because there's some black. No. Black stuff. Just black stuff.
Okay, if you have a towel or something, maybe you can just wipe it out of the way.
In our mouth. We did clean her mouth out.
Okay, go ahead and do that. Okay, now with her head tilted back, one hand under her neck, one hand on her forehead.
One hand on the forehead, one hand underneath the neck.
Tilt her head back
Tilt her
again.
head back.
Listen, put your ear by her mouth and nose. Do you
Put your
hear
ear
any
by her
air
mouth
going
and nose.
in and out?
Okay.
Is there any air going in or out?
Yeah, she's worried from... Make sure her mouth is...
Okay, is there air going in and out?
Is there air going in and out? Her air is not going in and out.
No, okay. What I want you to do, I'm going to tell you how to do mouth to mouth. I want you to go ahead and, again, tilt her head back.
Tilt her head back.
Pinch her nose closed.
Tilt her close her nose.
You need to tilt her head back and then pinch her nose closed. Okay, cover her mouth with your mouth and blow 2 regular breaths of air.
Two breaths in her mouth.
2 breaths of air. One per second. Make sure her chest rises with each breath. Make sure her chest rises with each breath.
No, her chest is not rising. Wait.
Did they do a breath already?
Take a deep breath and blow 2 short breaths in her mouth.
Well, one each second.
One each second.
You want to make sure her chest rises with each breath.
Okay. No.
Is her chest going up or down?
No, nothing.
Okay, then try tilting her head back a little bit more. Pinch her nose closed.
Pinch your nose closed.
Okay, and tilt her head back a little bit more, and two more breaths of air.
Is her mouth clear? Yes.
Okay, a nice tight seal on her mouth, and 2 more breaths of air, ma'am.
2 more breaths. And she's on her back. I heard paramedics coming over her mouth.
Well, they're on their way. We've already sent them.
I hear her little gurgle.
Okay, did air go in when she breathed into her?
Push twice gently on her stomach.
Ma'am, did her chest rise with each breath?
No. Gently.
Okay, well, they need to, either they're not blowing hard enough, because if there's any fluid left, you got to blow through it.
Okay.
Okay?
There's no fluid. Clear.
There could be something in her, down in her throat.
Her mouth is clear. We're clearing her mouth now.
Okay. If there's anything in her mouth, we just need to blow through it if you can't get it out. Okay?
We're bringing the chin up. Tilt her head back some more.
Tilt her head back just a little bit more. If that doesn't work, then we're going to start doing compression.
Okay.
Cover her mouth with yours. Pinch her nose closed. Pinch her nose closed. Cover her mouth with yours. 2 breaths of air, 1 per second.
Okay.
Okay. Did the air go in? Did you see her chest rise with each breath? Are they inside?
One of the women that were in the house said, she had black stuff coming out of her. Was it blood or was it feces that had, what was it? Or was it old food? What was it? Because I was, when you said they had to clean her up and wipe her up, I was just trying to figure out what took them so long to perform CPR. Because it seems like that was the issue, was just clearing her airways.
Well, I don't, I think because she ate, and because there was all that cutting, she had to regurgitate. And because the person, had she been sitting up, it would have been a different scenario. But because they reclined her, she wasn't able to get, the stuff out of her mouth. Mm. And so bile is a digestive enzyme that when it comes up, I think everybody was just hysterical. They panicked. And it was just a horrible situation.
And I get that, I've been in situations like that, but the one thing you do not do is panic, because when you panic, someone loses their life because you can't take simple instruction. And I did see some interviews with the doctor. I believe his name is Dr. Jan. And he plays so focused on Kanye West's family and said that it was her nephew's fault as to why she's not here today, because he left her unattended and was contracted to be there with her during her post-op care. And so leaving her in the house with 3 people who couldn't perform CPR, that was pretty much like a red flag. And to him, Dr. Jed also said that when her nephew left, the 3 women that were in the house was giving her 1 Valium every hour. That was according to the toxicology reports. that they had pulled, which was essentially an overdose. Um, what do you have to say about, some of the things that Dr. Jan has said publicly to the media, because he was essentially blamed and lost his practice being the doctor that performed the surgery on Miss Donda West? What do you have to say about that? Like, the family say anything? Was it true that she took one Valium every hour after her surgery?
He wasn't there, and neither was I. I know that she had the surgery the day before, so it would have been, 36 hours, something like that. I don't know who was administering what, so I can't speculate on that. And I don't know how many he advised that they give. I would imagine that a surgery of that nature would require more than one pill. So they didn't say, if you look at the autopsy report, it did not say that those were contributing factors. It said it was inconclusive. So I believe reclining her is what put the distress on the heart. And I believe, from what I understand of it all, I don't know that, certainly those pills were not given all at once. If it was every hour, every 2 hours, by that point, it would have been 36 hours later, because it was well into the evening on Saturday. So, it's not unreasonable that over a 2-day period of time, and of course the things wouldn't have been digested. Do I think they gave her handfuls of pain pills? No.
Okay.
I don't believe anyone did that. So,
okay. But you do agree that, outside of this isolated situation that, like, for instance, when my son is sick, right, I have to write down how much medicine I've given him and at what time, so that I won't overlap and give him too much medicine. Do you think that could have possibly been an issue, being that 3 people was in the house and one did not understand the instructions, and that's why one of the family members went in there and reclined her back, and that's the reason why Miss West isn't here with us today, because there was not a...
I can't hear you. You were cutting out.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I said, for instance, and given that this is an isolated and tragic situation that happened to Miss West, could you agree that when you have people who are sick or who need constant medical attention around the clock from nurses, that it's very important that we kind of document what we gave them and what time, and because of overlapping, because like when my son is sick, like say for instance, we have sick kids all the time, like I write down when's the last time I gave him Tylenol and ibuprofen, so that I won't mess up and give him too much of the same medicine, and then that could cause a problem on top of him being sick. And I just feel that, being that there was 3 people left in the house, and the nephew, who was the nurse that left for a break, one of those people was not well aware on how to care for Miss West, and that's the reason why it led to her being reclined, and then unfortunately she's not here with us anymore. Do you feel that that was a contributing factor, being that everybody wasn't on the same page and wasn't documenting or necessarily taking this as serious as it was supposed to be taken?
I think that the nurse was there the entire time. I know that he's competent and qualified, and he was only gone 2 hours. I don't think that much happened in the 2 hours that he was gone. And I think dwelling on that is a diminishment to her memory as well. Okay. Nothing is going to bring her back. She's gone. It's a tragedy. And the only thing that I'm concerned with is that people not remember her and not focus on anything that is a lie, that she did not have medical clearance, that she didn't have a thorough workup of her health, and that she had pre-existing issues. She was extremely thorough. This was a PhD. She's a doctor. She knows, a doctor of English, but she's a well-educated woman. She knows how to take care of things. Her nephew is well-educated. So I think even as careful as you can be, as cautious as you can be, things happen. It is a horrible, horrible accident. And the medical examiner wasn't able to determine cause of death with all of that skill and precision of going through everything with a fine-tooth comb. And it's speculation. But what I do know without hesitancy, everyone loved Donda, and people did the best they could. And that is why you don't want to, it's the family's choice as to how things were handled. And the primary concern was Kanye's well-being. So everybody rallied around him to make sure that he was okay. Nothing was going to bring Donda back. Nothing was going to make that situation better. So if the medical examiner said there was nothing inappropriate that the doctor did, then that's what we have to go with. If the medical examiner said it's inconclusive, then it's inconclusive. All of those factors came together, obviously, but no one shoved 20 pills down her throat in 2 hours. That didn't happen. So whatever was transpiring, everybody looks to find fault here and find fault there. And it's 14 years after the fact. All that I care about and all that's important to me is that Donda, her legacy and her name and her memory is solid in terms of who she is as a woman, her competency level, what she took care of before she made that decision. She made sure that she did a thorough examination on her health. She sought the counsel of 6 different doctors. And she was advised that she could heal at home. There's no one that said it was always an option. You can do either or. And nothing, her nephew's a board certified nurse. She did all that she could. She checked all of the boxes. And at the end of the day, it was still a horrible accident. So I get that Jan Adams wants to whatever it is that he wants.
No, because he was definitely pointing the finger at the family and saying that even and I think one comment that he made during an interview, it kind of made him look bad because he said she received I guess she didn't receive a clearance from a doctor before she came to me, and so. And if he accepted the surgery, it kind of seemed like, he just kind of wanted to operate on Kanye West's mom for the publicity because he was well into TV, at a TV show and everything. So this was a part of the press to get him more clients and things like that. And so
right.
He was definitely pointing the finger and trying to blame everyone
Where
else.
I blame him is she called to cancel her appointment and he refused. You do not force someone into a surgery. I know with 100% certainty she called him to cancel her appointment. And out of greed, out of whatever his motivation was, he, said, I'm not giving you your money back if you do. So you're basically forcing her to do something that she was uneasy about. So I fault him more than anybody. I fault Spalding for not loving her the way she deserved to be loved. Making her feel insecure as a woman. Before she met him, Donda was very secure, very stable, very self-assured. And you meet a man who doesn't love you the way you deserve to be loved, and that can create insecurity, in addition to her getting older. So at the end of the day, none of it will bring Donda back. There's nothing to be said or done that is going to make it better. You know, it is what it is.
You mind if I ask an opinion about Kanye? Listen here, Juvia's Place understood the assignment. They have everything you need to create the perfect face in one place. Take your fine ass over to juviasplace.com or your local Ulta Beauty store and check out all of their luxury products that won't break the bank. Juvia's Place prides itself on presenting you with only the finest formulas and most pigmented shades. Take your look to the next level with unique eyeshadows, full coverage foundations, bold lip colors, and much, much more. Using my code WINE. Get you 10% off your online order. Listen, I know that life has been kicking all of our ass lately, but we don't have to look like it. Walking around with dark circles like I used to, acne, hyperpigmentation, you can knock all of that out. Adjust your crown and return your skin to goddess status with the Regal Rose Club. Purchase their vegan skincare cleanser, moisturizer, and mask using the link below. It's made with all organic and premium natural herbs. Get your glow back with Regal Rose Club. Embrace Pangea is offering you a pot of gold in sea moss, that is. You'll feel like you hit the lotto after discovering all the benefits their raw gold in sea moss has to offer you, from vegan recipe substitutes to boosting reproductive function plus joint health, faster workout recovery, and a daily nutrient-packed supplement. If you're a first-time user, head on over to embracepangea.com and learn more on how to prep and use your raw golden sea moss. And while you're there, check out their easy-to-use sea moss capsules as well. Your pot of gold is waiting for you in the link below. Do you feel that a lot of his choices after his, the unfortunate passing of his mother, of his best friend, of his manager, contributed to a lot of the pain that they are labeling as bipolar or manic, and was using it for quite some time to kind of ruin his brand? Do you feel that that played an issue? Maybe that's just some unresolved grief and not necessarily maybe bipolar? It's just another way coming out?
Yeah, I've always told the family that he's not bipolar and he's not. I don't like medical labels. When you go to doctors, they're always trying to label you as this or that. Kanye is a genius, and he doesn't think like normal people because he's not normal. He's a genius. He lost the most important person in the world to him. And you have to know that he blames himself. Of course he's going through the what ifs. What if I hadn't moved to California? What if I hadn't given her the money? What if I hadn't, so all of that factors in. Did she have her own money? But he paid her a nice salary, so she was able to afford doing something like that. And once it happens, there's always that what if, but there's nothing that can be done. And that's probably the most painful place, because you want somebody to blame, you want something to blame. And then when you get to the end of it, it comes down to she was not aligned with the decision. And a doctor put her in a position where she did something that she wasn't aligned with. It absolutely is not Kanye's fault. He loved his mother, and his mother loved him. She adored Kanye. And every day I had to listen to Kanye's story. All day. I know how much this mother loved her son. Their bond was so special. And of course that has impacted him. Every single day he lives without his mom. So that's going to drive a lot of depression and a lot of sadness. And, every time he has something special happen, you wish she was there. So, at the funeral, he got up to speak, and oh my God, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Everybody turned out for the service. Anita Baker sang, and Common was there, Erica Badu. I sat behind Jay-Z and Beyonce. John Legend was there, everybody. And when Kanye got up to speak, he said, "This is my worst nightmare confirmed." This is the unimaginable. So, of course, it impacts his health. And I thought the birth of his children was the best thing for him, because the best way to breathe life back into you is with new life. So each of his children is a blessing. I hate that Donda didn't get to see them, because she really wanted her grandchildren. She always said Kanye was mama's baby, and that was her term for him. That's mama's baby. And she wanted grandchildren. So, but I know that he keeps her memory alive, and he keeps everything about her alive, and he talks to his children about her. And she's with us spiritually. She's with him in everything that he does. Their bond is too strong, and it's too close. Donda did not leave. She left the physical realm, but she's invincible in terms of her energy. So she's with Kanye. She's with everyone that loved her, and she's with his children and her grandchildren. So
I definitely.
I just want Kanye to be at ease. You're never going to get over it. It's going to hurt forever, because such an important part of you. They were truly soulmates. They were so much alike, and loved each other so much, and bonded in so many ways that it's, a part of your soul is gone. And that's going to cause the pain that you can't even imagine. So I believe that is what is causing whatever it is that he's going through, more than anything medical. It's just spiritual, and it's psychological, and it's the hurt over his mother. And, there's no remedy for that.
Right.
When you lose someone that important, you just have to wake up every day and get through each day the best way that you can.
Well, let me ask you a question, Miss Sharron, because there was something that kind of threw a loop and everything. Because I always wondered this, and I want to know if you had a chance to talk to him, because I remember during one of what they classified as his bipolar episodes, when he got on television, he mentioned having liposuction before his wedding. Did you catch that?
I didn't hear you.
Okay. Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. I should have turned my mic up. I apologize about that.
Okay.
No, what I was going to say, there was something that always just kind of just really made me kind of look in the left field. There was a time when Kanye was on television, and they classified it as him having a manic or bipolar episode at this point. Okay. And so, they do that every time he speaks,
I remember
right?
that. Yeah.
And so he says that I had lipo before my wedding. The night before my wedding, I had to have lipo. And I think he said to fit into his suit. Did you ever get a chance to talk to him about that? Because I would be, and I'm gonna be honest with you, there's a few people that's wanted the knife that's made me just say, you know what, I would never do it. Usher's wife, ex-wife, Tamika, Kanye West's mother. It's just not even, I know nothing happened during the surgery, but it's always that aftercare and just kind of getting over that hump, making sure everything is good. And so that's made me just say, no, I would never do that. I'm fine with the way that I look. No one is perfect, but did you ever get a chance to speak with Kanye after, the passing of his mother? And, when I heard that, he said that when I not heard, but, he mentioned having liposuction before his wedding, I was just like, wait a minute. Like, I couldn't bring myself to go under anybody's knife if I lost my mother in that way. So what do you have to say about that? Did you get a chance to speak to him? And if not, what do you think was going through his head?
I've never spoken to him on that. And I know that people like to be very salacious. You know, when you're a star, when you're an artist, people love to, it's like they build you up to tear you down. There was a company that contacted me when Donda died, ITV over in London, and they wanted to do this documentary on her. They pretended as if it was going to be something to honor her and praise her and talk about all the good in her life. But then when I did reconnaissance on the people that sent it to me, I saw that they were talking to Martin Bashir, who was the guy that did that expose on Michael Jackson. And I immediately contacted Kanye and said, these people, because I asked her in the email, did you reach out to Kanye? She didn't reach out to anyone in the family. She said she wasn't able to reach Kanye, but she wanted me to participate in it. Well, I wouldn't participate in anything unless you've spoken to him first and the family. But then I reached out to him and I told him what I suspected they were up to. And he put out a legal notice to them to cease and desist. So people try to capitalize on whatever story they think they can turn into something ugly and something profitable for the company, even if it's at the expense of the person. This was this young man's mother, the most adored person in his life. And, you know, nothing should be sensationalized about that. Donda was and is vibrant, beautiful, just a stellar human being. I miss her. I know that everyone in her family misses her. I know her son misses her every minute of every day. And we have to find a way to be okay with her not being with us physically. But the point of me even wanting to speak on this was so people did not leave with or continue to spread rumors that she went Hollywood, that she made this decision reckless or without information. Donda was the most grounded, the most intelligent, salt of the earth, you know, what you call good stock. Just a very authentic, genuine lady. And she was too intelligent not to have done her due diligence. She overthought it, over-examined it, and did everything that she could to ensure that this would have turned out for her. And unfortunately, it just didn't. So Kanye is going to have to carry that the rest of his life, and he's got to find a way to, you know, just be okay with it in terms of his health and not allow people to misdiagnose him or pre-diagnose him just because they want to put him in a box. It's okay to bounce off the walls. It's okay to spiral out of control. This is an uncontrollable situation. And, you know, people should put their arms around him and love him through it instead of standing back criticizing and looking for, you know, jokes and things like that. He's lost the most important person in the world to him. Someone who, I always said when God created perfection, he named her Donda. Donda was the most beautiful woman I've ever met. Never met a finer woman. And all of our lives are diminished without her being here. So, you know, we get through it as best we can. I just wanted to make sure that I set the record straight so that people remembered or had an idea of who she truly was, because there's not a lot known about her. that people, in the absence of the truth, they will spread gossip and innuendo. And so that's why I felt after 14 years, because this did come up again. Someone mentioned it to me a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, geez, people actually believe that. And then I realized no one has ever spoken on it. No one has ever told the truth. No one has ever said, no, this is what happened. And these are the things that took place. So that you could, not hold her in a diminished view at all.
Well, thank you, Miss Winbush. I really appreciate you just being vulnerable enough to come and share, her story, because there was a lot of assumption out there, and no one has ever really spoken on her except for in opinion, piece. And so I'm really glad that you came, especially during a very, very great time in Kanye's life, him dedicating his entire album, his entire being to her. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I really do appreciate that, and thank you. And is there anybody else that you know?
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people.
Well, thank you. Listen, I'll be out. I should be out in LA, I believe, that sometime this week. And if you want to have lunch, I'll definitely would like to get to know you and just meet you in person and everything like that. And so I do appreciate you once again gracing us on my platform and just giving us some information that we never just would have gotten anywhere else in the world. So thank you.
Yeah, and again, it was strictly to leave Donda's image in a better place, and hopefully it added some clarity and some just answered some questions that people may have had. But at the end of the day, this was a beautiful, intelligent, vibrant, vivacious, just one of the most beautiful women I've ever met in my life. Could not think of a better friend to have. I miss her dearly. Everybody misses her dearly. And I just want people to be cognizant of the things that they spread about people, so that you're not spreading falsehoods. And people think that gossip is not damaging, but it really is, because even though they may not say it to Kanye or the family, they'll say it to other people. And I love Donda. She's my friend. So it hurts me to hear those things. I feel sad when I hear things that are not true, because I know that's not who she was. So I felt a need to set the record straight, because it's been 14 years and I'm still hearing the same things being said about her. So I wanted to make sure that the record had some truth and some clarity, and people know who Donda is. Beautiful woman.
And you know what? Unfortunately, when you do, quote unquote, make it, right, people think that automatically money changes you, and they start grouping you and just kind of putting you in a box and saying, this is who you are now. Now, I have a strict policy. Now, I normally don't cover death on my platform. But for something like this, and I knew you weren't going to come on and come with all these conspiracy theories, I said, you know what? She knew her. You provided the receipts. And so I said yes, because it's like honoring her. And that's how I want to honor anyone who has transitioned, because a lot of times family members are watching and it's very triggering. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
I get bombarded all the time. Tasha, talk about this. And I just won't, And so when it comes to keeping their memory alive, of course, I don't mind taking pieces like this and making sure that we are treading lightly, because, again, someone has lost someone that they're extremely close to. And so in that respect, we do a lot of entertainment news over here. We do a lot of truth. Some of it's, it's some bullshit, but at the same time, it's like when it comes to death, I don't play those games because you can never get a person back. And so, again, thank you for trusting my platform, despite you and I have differences of opinion given the matter on R. Kelly. You did see something in me to even trust me with this story, and so I really do appreciate that. So thank you.